earthquake that's taking place right now in Turkey. How did it feel for you, especially knowing that that's what you learnt and that's what you specialize in?
Anyway, good morning to you all and our cherished listeners. In fact, it kept me thinking, like you rightly said, if it should happen here in Ghana, what will be our situation? Then it gave me that inner edge that, you see, putting all technicalities aside, the most important thing is that the people need to know how to protect themselves,
yes,
how to reduce the risk or the disaster. Because at the end of the day, it's human lives and property. So how do we, if not totally, of course it cannot be eliminated totally, but how do we reduce the effects? And that is where I think we should be focusing more on.
Now, you work with a geological survey here in Ghana. So we want to start the conversation from which areas are earthquake prone in this country, first of all, so that the people who live around those areas, number one, would know. And number two, if you happen to have settled there, what are the signs to look out for, or what should you do so that just in case it happens, at least you can save your life?
Okay. Just to mention a few, of course, we know the popular Weja Makati enclave.
Okay.
And all the way, in fact, you know, earthquakes are one of the causes, what we will call the fault line.
Okay.
And this trends from all the way from Ho through the Equapian Ridge. So all these are called fault systems, all the way to Nyanyano, and it goes down thrown into the sea. So obviously you see all these localities, and it is more around the Weja, Makati, Nyanyano enclave, let's say Accra, because there is one also down thrown into the sea. So it's like the one from the Equapian Ridge and then the coastal one is kind of some intersection around that side. So if you speak to even the locals around this area, especially Weja, they even feel it some almost any other day. And it's like they are used to it from field experience. But of course, we have the equipment which also monitors. It's not everything that the human beings feel.
Okay.
So basically, around these areas are let's say, the high-risk zones within Accra.
Okay. I see. Yeah. Now, if you have a settlement there already, what type of building must it be to safeguard your life?
Okay, in the first place, you see, when you buy a land or you want to put up a property, after going to the assembly or even before going to the assembly, if you contact us, if you come to our place, we're able to help you know the areas where you are buying your plots, even before you even purchase a place. You know, okay, this is a low-risk area, this is high-risk, then it will help you make informed decisions. People come even before they buy their property. We do these studies for them, and so it helps them to make informed decision on where to buy property. But already, if you have property in these areas, like you said,
and you have actually settled there,
yes, you can still contact the engineers.
Okay.
Yes, because they deal with the structures.
right?
It's, you know, this thing is not a one agency work or one person's area
one
of
institutional work.
Yes. So
It's
the engineers,
interrelated.
yes. So we have the engineers who also specialize in earthquake engineering. So not every engineer. So when you contact them, so they will help you to determine the integrity of your structure, so that possibly you can do reinforcement. Or better still, they will give you the appropriate advice on what to do pertaining to the structure. And if even you have to probably pull it down or relocate, fine. But then also in these areas, so in that case, ideally, you don't need to put, let's say, the normal concrete structures around fault
lines.
Yes, fault lines. So, like I said earlier, so within this enclave, for example, if you know, like I said earlier on, probably your building is already even on a fault line. So that one, when it's on a fault line, you can't do anything about it. You really have to vacate that place. If it is if you are nearby, then you can probably do something. But if your settlement is actually on the fault line, you will not, you see, and you will not see physically on the earth unless you contact the geoscientists to help you deal with that.
Okay. So we're going to show you two maps.
Okay.
One that shows areas with names or cities with names, and the one. So there's a particular map. It says earthquake risk map, etc. But you see it on the screen as well. And then subsequently, you tell us whether that really is what we're talking about. So, no, don't worry. You see it on the television or the monitoring screen. Now, what it does indicate, and just for by way of the education, okay, so if we saw the areas with the names, that would have been better, but still. So these are the fault lines. Unfortunately, you can't get every name.
Where it's indicated red?
Yes. So,
the red ones?
Yes. So what we have here is telling us where we have earthquake-prone areas.
Oh, so where it's high and then where it's low.
Ah.
So from the map, we can see that the areas indicated in red. Okay, she's here, so explain to us then.
Yeah. So...
Okay, so if we can get the one with the names, there's just a normal map with the names, so she can just walk us through the ones with it. But I
otherwise, looking from the legend.
Okay.
This is the general Ghana map.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would have
No,
loved...
so you just take us through the areas because you kept mentioning Ho to
yes.
the Volta.
Okay, so from that from Ho,
I'm not sure she can see.
through the Equiapim range.
Okay, that brings us to the Greater Accra Eastern Region.
Yes,
okay.
Equiapim range all the way to the Ebri Enclave, Dodowa, getting down to the Makati Hill. So, simply put, you see this chain of hills.
Okay.
They are. It's not a competent hill or mountain. The mountain chains rise from the Equiapim down to the Weja Hills, Makati Hills, down through into the sea around Nyanyano. Right. So those areas, those hills are not competent.
Do I get the indication, do we get the indication that fault line areas are always or have key features like in topography? The topographic areas are a bit undulating or not exactly?
Not absolute. Okay. Not absolute, yeah.
Right.
So, like I said, not all of them, but this particular one, okay. So you see we have a number of different types of maps.
So we do understand. I think we didn't ask you to bring a particular map, so that's okay. Yeah. But we have Tina. Tina Emi-san lived in Turkey. And Tina, tell us, your experiences with tremors or earthquakes in Turkey. Maybe earthquakes as a Ghanaian takes us to a bigger picture, but tremors, that's the shaking and exit. Tell us your experience. When you entered, what was the sort of education that was giving you, your experiences when you were there, for example?
Okay, so thank you, Roland. What happened was, actually, I went to Turkey to pick up some items.
Okay. You're a businesswoman.
Yeah. But when I got there was this job opportunity in a school. So I took advantage of it. So it was when I decided to stay, and then I was told I had to go through these guidelines, that this is what they live with in Turkey.
What are the guidelines?
So I was told that this is how the situation is. Tremors is something that you get daily.
So you were
informed
right when you got there?
Right when I got there, I was informed that this is the situation.
Okay.
So in our sitting place, we have a big table in a hall, very strong one.
Okay.
So anytime you see that movement, you can just go under the table. You're not supposed to move. And then another thing was, you're not supposed to move. You can be under your bed and then be safe. Because when you step out, you don't know. But this one, what makes it worse is the
magnitude.
The magnitude, 7.8 is very serious. I witnessed 5.8. It was in the afternoon. So I was just watching telly, and all of a sudden the telly started moving. And the whole structure we use lift in going up. We have about 4 to 5 story. So the structure was moving this way, and then it was coming this way. So immediately I got the sound that there's an earthquake, so I had to go under the table.
That very strong table that
yeah,
you have in the middle of the living room.
So I went under the table for some time, and then I was there for some time, and then I noticed that everything was stable now. So everybody started running up, down. So we all went outside, and then we stood there for some time.
Okay.
And then we didn't get a follow-up. Ours was just once. So we didn't get a follow-up. It's the follow-up that brings in the caving in of the building. You see.
Just like it is in this case.
Yeah.
Because after the big one, after the 7.8, there were 2 follow-ups actually, we've been told.
Yeah. And currently they are still having 4.8 around that.
So there are a number of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So you live with it.
I lived with it. And
What's the experience? How does it run through the land, the landscape?
because it's normal, so you even notice it. Sometimes you be on your bed and you see the bed moving a little bit, and then you notice that it's passing. But what is good in Turkey is that immediately you get to Turkey, your SIM card, you get a SIM card with your passport.
Okay.
Because there's information coming each day. They are very good in that. They are giving information of how the Earth is going to behave that very day. So we are
giving daily updates.
Of course, we are giving updates on how things are going to be that day. So you are alert. You know how to handle yourself.
So are you indicating that citizens knew about this one?
Yes,
that took place 3 days ago.
They know.
They knew.
They knew.
And even you, can you know the time?
The timing and the cities, sometimes they don't get it right, which is obviously,
of course, they are not good.
So, but they know there's information you get.
So the way, let's say, people in the tropical areas of Africa where there's always rainfall, that's those ones that are closer to the equator, they always experience rain. For example, those in Liberia, it's always rain.
Yeah.
Or Congo
It's the same.
and all that. It's the same.
It's
They
the
live
same.
with it.
It's the same. That's for.
Do they do it on TV? Like, do they tell this how the earth is going to be, like the way the weather, they do it?
They do. So that bit keeps on coming. So you have to know, and then you know where you'll be at that particular time. Sometimes they get it wrong, which you can't force them.
Okay. That said, does it mean that there's a particular way their building structures are made of, by way of the structural designs and things like that? In particular from your experience.
Currently, they don't use this concrete block that we use here because it's heavy. They are using this small bricks, very light, and it's hollow. They don't use this concrete one. So that's what they are using currently. And even that, they are having challenges. So maybe they have to upgrade on how to.
Do they use a lot of chipboard or plaster boards to do prefabs?
Yes.
Just because of the
Yes.
earthquake?
But the education is very, very strong in all the schools, everywhere. So in the school, when it happens like that, you have to go under your table. You don't have to come out. Because when you come out, you don't know what will happen. So you wait for everything to be okay before you come out. And they have this big park that I don't know how, maybe they know that this place is safer.
Okay.
So
that's where everybody
will have to move.
Right.
And then when I got to Turkey, I was told you have to get a little small bag, with maybe your important documents, pack in it. You pick one cloth of yours,
right,
up and down. If you have kids, you pick a few items and then you pack it. It's ready.
So you have an emergency pack ready for everybody has it.
Yes, everybody,
so
you have to do
matter
that.
happens, you just pick it
and then you
that's
put it at a vantage point that you can pick.
Reach for it.
You have to get ready.
Oh, wow.
You have to get ready. So immediately it strikes, and then you are able. You just pick your bag and then off you are out.
You go to the safe grounds.
You go to the safe grounds until you hear of other information before you can get in. So after everything, they comes around and then they mark the buildings that are weak, and then everything will have to be pulled down and they rebuild it again. So that's the life in Turkey, and then it's serious. I'm sad. Currently, my HOD cannot be found.
It's
in Haktay, where Christian Achu is currently. So he's there, and there's a guy that I lived with, I had personal relationship with, so it's really getting into me. So.
Oh, you mean you constantly had chats still in Ghana?
Yeah, in Ghana. So about 4 days now, I've not been reaching him. So I got somebody from Istanbul, and then he told me till now you have to hang it in there
Yeah.
because things are not easy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'm praying that he'll be
We are
safe.
praying with you
Yeah,
as well. We are
yeah.
praying with you as well. Savia, you see, from everything that she said, would you say that the geological department is even equipped enough to be able to send these type of signals and info to the citizenry? Do you have what it takes, or you need some good amount of help from government?
Okay, so to put it, what she said is right, but you know, when we have where we call the ring of fire, where we have the high risk endemic countries, and they are advanced like Japan and co. So in terms of advancements, but they are still having challenges. So the information that they are giving out there right then, they are all, it doesn't mean that they are able to tell you that earthquake will happen today or tomorrow. That is not it. That's why we have to get it right. It's just the form of education that is going on because it is their way of life. Like we were discussing earlier, those who live in Ouija, they experience it daily. So these people, these countries, they're able to churn out this information because they know that is how our situation is. So they adapt themselves towards the situation. But in our part of the world, you know, Ghana is actually considered to be stable. And if you see within the African map, Africa is stable. That is how they say generally stable. Okay. So just small parts of the country that is in this kind of situation. Okay. And even if you want to talk in terms of hazard, you'll not be able to do a thorough hazard like these endemic countries because for them, they are always experiencing these high magnitudes. And we are having, so all I'm trying to say is that they are more advanced than us, but we are also working towards it. But the most important thing now is that we need to have the education going, and that is where I must accept that we are not.
So that's why I want to ask. So, even though you're Ghanaian, sometimes you have the opportunity to be able to travel to all these countries, just like Tina was able to do. So the education we actually need this morning, in such an emergency case, there's an earthquake. What can you do? What should you do?
Yes. So before even it happens, so let me just classify it this way. For example, let's use this place as a scenario. Okay. Let's say at a workplace. Okay. So the employees need to know that, fine, we have this kind of activities happening in the country. Okay. So then what do we do? So like she rightly said, as we are here now, if something should happen, those over there should go under that table. So we call it drop, take cover, and hold on.
Drop,
take cover,
and hold on.
Hold on.
So three.
Drop, take cover,
and hold on. Okay.
So first of all, you just have to get to the ground, lie to the ground. Okay. Then you get under the nearest steady table. That is the major thing, is that you're going to protect your head and your neck. Then you hold on to anything that you can, like probably those of us that hold on to this. They over there should get under that table and hold on. Don't try to move out or come to where we are. So these are the kind of things that you have to do. And those that are outside. Because if you're on the compound, then you cannot hold anything. But if you're in the open space, then you should look out for emergency area. So let's say these premises, we have to identify employees or have to know where is the emergency area, which is should be an open space.
Do you send those living in the fault line? Have you been telling them?
Yes.
Yeah, you do public education.
Yes,
you go to the communities.
Yes, we do with NADMO. We always do with NADMO.
They do it.
We do with NADMO.
Okay, so Tina, as we wrap up, this sort of education that is given, let's say, in your residential period in Turkey, does that inform the type of furniture you buy for your living rooms, etc.? Because the table that she's pointing to, I can tell you, this thing should kill you, you die. Do you understand? It's not made for purpose. Do you understand? So does that inform where you live or your bedside, where you place the bed, whether it's near?
Yeah, very important. It's part of their way of questioning people. So as for the furniture, that's what I told you. big one, like a dining. They don't use
It has
the
to
such
be-
glasses.
It has to
no.
be bulky,
Very, very heavy.
timber-like stuff.
Timberland, very heavy, that you can go under and then you'll be in there. Because when you get it continuously, it can cave in. The caving is the problem. Because when it happens like that and you are safe under there, hanging there, you take a lot of breath and then you hang in there until everything settles. So
How would you describe Turkey, a developed country? Do they
Yes.
have high-rise buildings?
Very, very developed. Very developed. It's a beautiful place, beautiful people. So I'm really sad. I'm really sad for it. And this one is the worst one in 100 years. This one is the worst one. I think I heard 25 years ago. That was, yes,
There was
similar,
one.
but this
It
one
was-
is worse. This
the
one is
The
worse.
death toll wasn't
Yeah,
this
yeah,
high.
yeah.
7.8,
this one,
7.5
yeah.
subsequently, and then we've had...
Yeah. And even the 5.8 that I witnessed, there was no casualty.
Okay, so you witnessed a 5.81.
Yeah.
Did it lead to breaking of
No.
some part of the Earth surface or something?
A little. It wasn't that massive. It was in the afternoon. This one is, they were
It's really
sleeping.
heavy.
And then we are in winter, so you can imagine. It's snowing, the weather is very
Yeah,
cold
it's
now.
cold.
So it was in the afternoon, that's why we were able to come out. We didn't get a second top up. It was only one, the 5.8 strike, and then we hung in there, and then later we came out with our bag as usual. So that night we didn't sleep in that.
Slept in the open?
We slept, yes. We went to the safer part, and then we were all kept there.
So they,
So we got information that we can go
so
in
they
now.
design their cities like that, especially where the fault lines
Yes,
are.
every community, you have the safer part in there. So as I'm telling you, they know that's their situation. So they've really made strategies for everything.
Okay.
Sylvia wants to say
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
So, like she's saying, this scenario that I give is just temporal because
Yeah.
the thing happens. We are talking about seconds,
Yeah.
not even minutes. We are talking
Right.
about seconds.
Right.
So that is the first thing you think of doing, and then you have to find the necessary exit, and then you move out to the main focus is to get out to an open place.
Yeah.
But then you see the falling objects and stuff like that, they are the things that cause the casualties. So temporarily you do that, and when you realize that the sun has gone down, then you quickly move. But also be mindful of stampede depending on where you are.
It's true.
And if you are in an office building with a story where you have elevator is no.
No.
You shouldn't use an elevator.
Don't use an elevator.
It
And
will
if
be
you are
come into your
outside
mind.
and you are driving, then you have to park somewhere, especially you have to cross a bridge or overheads. They are no.
Don't do it.
So probably you could have.
Is your car
aftershocks.
one of the safest places?
Pardon?
Your car.
Okay.
Is the car one of the
Can you
safest
sit in your car?
places?
Sit in your car.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can sit in the car as
Okay.
long as you are not crossing
Yeah.
an overpass,
Okay.
highway or bridge.
Okay, so
You
once
can sit-
it's an open place, you can
Yes,
sit
you
in
can
your
sit
car.
in your car.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then
You don't try to get out. You just
No.
stay low.
You have to be in
Yeah.
your car.
Stable.
Can you attempt to drive probably to the safe place? Is it advisable?
So you look at the environment. If you don't have power lines, electrical poles.
Charlie, but in
Stay
that instance,
aware
your
of-
brain is not
Exactly.
working. No.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes. So maybe the most important thing is to be calm. Try to calm yourself down. Then you can think, and then steady your environment and take
And then
action.
you know.
But if you panic, then you do what probably you shouldn't have done, and then you be caught up.
All
And
right.
those who are along the coastline.
So you can see
too.
the picture on the screen.
Yeah.
So something
Yes.
like that, if you're able to
Yes.
bend, then you can at least
Yes.
save yourself a little.
Yes.
So it means
Yes.
that immediately a thing happens, you park your seat has to go back so that you lie low, right?
Yes.
From the way it is.
Yes, but then if you are parked close to the building
Building.
wall,
So that's
then
what
it
you
is-
were cautioning.
Yeah.
Yes, then it is not alcohol. Then, like she said,
Yeah.
then you can drive
Away,
away
from,
from
it.
the.
But it's understandable. This time they
wall.
were sleeping, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so before we let you go, the city where it happened or the disaster, the epicenter, did you visit any of them when you were in Turkey? You were Vampla and some of those places?
No, I went to Ankara
Okay.
and then Antalya.
Antalya.
Yeah, I didn't go to Hakkari. Hakkari is the west one.
No, that was
Yeah. They
All
are
right.
closer to Syria. They share border with Syria.
So
That
that's where
places,
the
yeah.
fault lines are.
At least now we know what to do in such an emergency case. And I just hope that Ghana doesn't experience anything like that. But if you do travel outside and God forbid it happens, now you know exactly what to do. Tina and Xavier, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you. Thank you.
We
You
just
too.
hope that the situation there gets better.